Howdy and welcome to Forgotten Xbox Live Arcade Games, a mini-series where I review mostly forgotten Xbox 360 titles, and today we will be taking a look at Riot. Developed by Code Glue and CoinOp Interactive and published by THQ in 2009, this game is okay in my opinion. It isn't great, not something to play all day, but it is decent, and I got it pretty cheap on sale, and I'd say I mostly got my money's worth. Now, this title has 4 game modes: a single-player campaign, a endless survival mode, local and online multiplayer, and a practice mode. I'll go ahead and knock out the MP by saying that my Game Pass is expired, and I had no one to play this with me locally, so no comment here. Although, one achievement is locked to online MP. As for the practice mode, it's just a room where you can practice your skills and test all the power-ups offered in this game. Kind of a tutorial, I guess, and the endless survival mode is pretty self-explanatory. Now for the main story, it is divided up into 80, yes, 80 levels, so not exactly the shortest XBLA title. And while the first 40 or so levels were mostly a breeze, some of the later levels got really hectic and many took several attempts for me to beat. Anyways, every 10th level has a boss fight, with most being kinda tough, and after every boss, you get a short cutscene that tells the story of Riot. How to tell the story in a way that won't get this video pulled from YouTube. Okay, so the main villain is a dude named Blockbeard, whose legs, well, they cease to exist, and being mad about this, he made the lower halves of everyone disappear. But a scientist quickly developed and mass-produced rocket boosters to replace the things that we used to walk with. I know that this is a very weirdly worded way to describe the story, but I don't want another warning email after my Dead Island 2, Killing Floor, and Zombie Army videos. Anyways, your character goes on a quest to stop Blockbeard, and after beating him as the final boss, justice is served, and Blockbeard is arrested. That is more or less the story in a nutshell, and every cutscene helps add a bit of context as to why the game takes place where it does, like inside a desktop computer, a creepy mansion, or a science lab. Now, something really cool about this game is that the enemies change based off your environment, and after you defeat a foe for the first time, you can play as them, and you can change their colors a bit, and Riot offers a ton of characters to choose from. I usually stuck with the zombie, because zombie gamer cat. But I did mix it up some for this video, like using a brain in a jar or a banana. Alrighty, for gameplay. Objectives will vary by level, but the base gameplay is that you shoot baddies to defeat them, while also avoiding returning shots, and you can also shoot and destroy blocks, which will occasionally drop power-ups and power-downs. Plus, you can use large areas of blocks as a shield if you're careful enough. Now, power-ups can be things like maybe shrinking you to make you a smaller target, or making you fire 3 rockets at once instead of 1, or a power down could maybe prevent you from firing your launcher for 30 seconds, stuff like that, and you pull on the joystick to shoot. That said, gravity certainly exists in this video game, which pulls your rockets downward, and it can kinda make shooting tricky. But charged shots are stronger than normal shots, and they can travel much farther before being pulled downwards. Alrighty, now for objectives. It'd be things like destroy these items, defeat 70 baddies, stuff like that. Although there were several football-themed levels where you had to grab and move a football to a goalpost, which could be tedious as you can't really defend yourself while you're holding a football. Or a rugby ball, as this European game likes to call it, and that is the bulk of Riot. It does have a pretty beefy campaign that took me at least 10 hours to beat, so at least there's a long game here for what was originally a $10 title, although I wouldn't have minded if it was a little bit shorter. Graphically, I love goofy pixel art style of Rocket Riot. And while I wasn't a huge fan of this game, I do feel like quite a bit of love was poured into it. That said, I was not a huge fan of the soundtrack. It was okay at first, but it got kind of annoying after a while, and I wound up putting on some Twisted Sister and some Cutlass to jam at while grinding away on Rocket Riot. The sound effects were okay though. Performance-wise, this game ran fine, and it even came with a couple of gamerpics, which was a nice bonus. In conclusion, Rocket Riot was a middle-of-the-road XBLA title. It could be fun at times, but it was a little bit too lengthy for its own good if you ask me. Especially when you consider that this game has an endless mode for people who really wanted more of this game, and I give Rocket Riot a 6.9 out of 10 by my grade scale. Again, not awful, but not great either. Now, this title is not backwards compatible, but it is on Steam if you want to try it that way, and it has 12 reviews there at the time of my writing, so not exactly a super popular game. And from what I read, only one major gaming news outlet covered it back in the day. As far as a similar game that I could recommend, I'm not too sure what to say here really, but maybe Boom Boom Rocket. You might like that one. And a side note apart from my review, based off of my secondhand knowledge of the Atari VCS, this game does feel like it would fit on that console. Just saying. Alrighty, well, that is my vid itself for today. A shorter one, I know, but hey, sometimes short vids are good. Thank you for watching, and for putting up with my bad narrations, it truly means a lot. For those new here, I mostly review and discuss Xbox 360 games, so feel free to sub if that sounds interesting. And follow me on GameRam, Kara, Vivaldi Social, and Retro Gaiden for hints at upcoming vids and behind the scenes stuff. As for our Bible verse of the day, I read Psalm 27:14 NIV. Wait for the Lord, be strong, and take heart, and wait for the Lord. And like always, none of my content is made by robots. Keep YouTube human and only watch man-made videos, and I do not consent for my likeness and voice to be altered and copied by robots in any way. God bless, keep the 360 alive, peace. As for the practice mode, anyways, every 10th level